Well, another opportunity we have, again, we're working with the mayor of Irvington to develop ways in which we can do outreach and build strong relationships with raising awareness about what's important for our community. God bless you,
Thank
Mayor. And we are very proud now that with the support of the mayor and the municipal council that we have been able to establish a actual annual day here in Irvington for health and wellness. And of course, it's to support the mayor's wellness campaign, which Mayor Smith, you've been instituting very well, and we'd like to thank you publicly for supporting our effort to continue to be a part of what you're doing.
I thought it was a wonderful event. You know, the draw of, because I'm still trying to see if we can recruit Sylvia's Restaurant to Irvington. So their brand and having their associates out there, and the food was actually excellent. But you also had a number of other things going on around health and wellness. And so the discussion with Gene from the union was excellent. You had New Jersey Citizen Action out there who was educating people about the Affordable Care Act, a.k.a. Obamacare.
Yeah, right.
And even had a private sector insurance broker.
That's right.
Who talk about how it affects the industry and what's out there as it relates to health care. So I thought it was a well-rounded discussion. You had a woman who, you know, was involved with sickle cell anemia herself, and she told a compelling story. So you did that educational component. I thought was well done. And then we also got a view from a gentleman who gave his, having been to many of the hospitals in the region, gave his view about as a consumer. About what he saw and what he witnessed at the various hospitals in the region. So we got a well-rounded discussion going there. And then, of course, people came out in droves, all kinds of folks. So it was just a good event. And so I see We Care is growing. And so that it was wonderful. People, you know, we had there was a mini celebration of my birthday. And want to thank Valerie Passard for the cake. It was just really nice, and got a chance. Councilwoman McElroy Sorority was out there. The council president came. We paid tribute to police and fire, and both of those units came and got their special recognition for the things that they do. So I thought it was a well-spent afternoon. We had a packed day that day because the school district was actually signing up young people for the early childhood programs, and the various daycare centers were in Orange Park, and then of course May 18th, which just happens to be my birthday, is also Haiti's Flag Day.
Right.
So Councilwoman Frederick led a ceremony in front of Town Hall. So we had a lot of stuff going on within this little radius here from Orange, Orange Park to Civic Square to the Servicemen's Club.
And even though it exemplifies your leadership character, that, you know, in relationship to the restraints that often happen in small towns, we still are able to penetrate that particular area of discontent and show that there is a major concern about health and wellness in particular, but the growing concerns about how we develop outreach efforts to our community.
What Saturday was that? Was that like in the month?
That was the third Saturday of the month.
The third Saturday of the month, because it was actually something else going on earlier. You know, we have a faith-based group who comes in and they provide food in front of City Hall.
Absolutely.
And they were there early in the day providing that service for people
in front of City Hall.
And they don't have a unlike most of our programs where there's an income criteria. You just have to be somebody who doesn't mind coming out saying you're in need and just come out. So, you know, if you're on that borderline, if you've never qualified for anything, they say in the tradition, the faith-based tradition of whoever will, let them come.
Right.
And so they were out there, and I had to just coach them to, you know, be finished by like 11:30 because the flag raising.
And everything was coordinated very effectively in lieu of the weather. Because a lot of people did not come out because of the weather, but we were there. We're going to continue to keep our word with building those kinds of relationships and bringing about information and resources that are going to be so important to our community. The leverage of dealing with it from that capacity, though, has always exemplified that many of the opportunities that are given to us are limited because we don't have funding. But we're beginning to really show that we can generate funding amongst ourselves.
Yeah, I mean, there is, within our neighborhoods, we're not wealthy people, but there is wealth. And some of that wealth is in our own creativity. and our own determination to address the issues that confront us. So, even this broadcast station, if you will, is a product of a collective will to get something done. A little federal law helps too, when they create this thing called public access when the cable industry was created. So, in years past, the town mothers and fathers delegated the television station to the Irvington Board of Ed, and they have their channel that's dedicated to schools and education and so forth. So our station over here is dedicated to the events that we cover in the community, to government affairs and those kinds of things. So, and we've been able to maintain it thanks to you, Herb, but as your nonprofit, with very limited resources, we've been able to keep the station alive and provide critical information to our viewers. And thanks to some ingenuity, we've expanded to Verizon Fios as the market has shifted somewhat. And we're going to look at low power radio. At some point, we went to Reverend Sharpton's symposium. That's still on my agenda to follow up and look at that possibility. Low power creates the ability where you can take a market like Irvington and have your own public access radio station, like your guest who covers a broad region, but they're global, WBGO, which is really a jazz radio station, but its impetus was public radio, public radio station.
Right, which we did learn from the interview with
it was very interesting because I remember as a kid in the Newark public school system, they used to do the spelling bee on that station.
Yeah, and it's really important that we also identify with the fact that as we continue to stay consistent in the event of an emergency, there are ways in which we can utilize these resources. And when we know that people are watching it and participating with it, we know that there is an advantage. And, that radio station is another broad relationship that we can build with the safety, process of getting our first responders an opportunity to get the messages out about what they're doing to try to overcome a lot of disasters that may happen. We know we had the hurricane, and it seems like now that kind of a season is consistent. There is still the idea of the project of a emergency management building.
Yeah, that's in fact, we just got over our last hurdle.
Really?
Yeah, we are pretty excited. We got the email this week. We received some money for some time to create what they call an emergency operating center, and we were going to build a really big building, but it cost about $4 million, and we didn't have enough money. We had about $1 million. Federal grant money, $750,000, and $250,000 for an insurance policy that we had gotten some proceeds for a building, so that gave us the $1 million. We couldn't build the original project that we wanted. We were going to build it over there by behind Union Avenue School, where as you go around Mill Road, we own some land back there. If you come across Union Avenue and make that right, you'll see it's a bunch of, we own that. So we were going to build something there, and then we wanted to figure out how we could make it pay for itself by creating a regional hub, a regional operating center. And because we're positioned in that particular cluster, you have Hillside on one side, you have Union on the other, you have Maplewood. So we were hoping that we could become the hub, and we're not far from the airport. So if you had a natural disaster or a man-made disaster of some type, where we needed to have a hub, we thought we were positioned. We even talked to the Port Authority about this, and couldn't come up with that kind of money. So what we did was we scaled back to fit our budget, and so we looked at our own facilities. And so on Wagner Place, which is a former firehouse, which the Irvington Counseling Center is upstairs, and the state of New Jersey gave us money to rehab the counseling center. We had to give them a 25-year lease in order to get that state money, so that those counseling services, mental health services, will remain in Irvington in that facility. So we did that, but the rest of the building is ours. And so primarily it's been converted to primarily storage, and we have primarily Durand Place Block Association. The area uses it as a meeting place where they have their meetings once a month. They recently just had one there. And so we said, that's our building, let's refurbish that and make an emergency operating center. So you have to go through this exhaustive, intensive process with the federal government in order to get them up to approve a building. So, because all of our buildings are older buildings, they tried to put us in the historic classification, which means you can't do much to the structures of those buildings without some sort of state and federal approval.
I see.
And so we had to go back and forth with our architects and talking with them, and then finally I got our congressional delegation involved, and they gave us a determination. They want to know, like, when we install windows or whatever we do, they just want to be primed, and if we can't, if we have to change doors and windows, just let them know. They'll sign off and move forward. They gave us the clearance to move forward. So now we can formally go out to bid to rehab the building.
That's awesome.
Which will include space for a emergency operating center where all of our key personnel around emergency management will gather. Right now we just kind of do it in the firehouse with phones and communication things and so forth, televisions, whatever. Now we'll have a formal place where everybody will convene. It'll be state of the art, and it will have capacity for people to stay overnight. It'll be evenly used for emergency shelter, and but even when it's not in use for that, it'll be a community meeting room, so that same purpose of having the community come together will still be as a part of the building's purpose.
Okay.
And of course, the counseling center will remain in its section upstairs.
And as we continue to improve upon the development of the communities, we're still waiting for the opening of the Valley Fair site.
So it's been quite a journey. They are trying to get open by the end of August of this year. They have 38 to 40% occupancy. They've leased to some local businesses and others. I met a national retailer through Reverend Sharpton's organization, so we approached them. They just asked me for their contact information. I met with a organization in Trenton who deals with the International Council on Shopping Centers. We're trying to host a breakfast for retailers, so it'll probably be, I know one of the owners was ill, so we weren't able to schedule until after the Memorial Day holiday. But we're trying to and we also had the Secretary of State, who happens to be the Lieutenant Governor, one of her key staff members come up, and also somebody from the Governor's office come up, because we want to use the Business Information Center of state government as a way to get galvanized retailers to really look at the site with the imminent opening and help us market it. One of the other things, there's work being done on Route 78.
Really?
Right now. And so
when am I saying really for? Yeah, I know.
No, you've seen it. So one of the things that we've had conversations with Assemblywoman Tucker, Assemblyman Caputo.
Is it causing a problem?
No, we're trying to get a pathway that goes directly onto the Valley Fair site.
Oh.
Yeah, so I've sent formal letters to the Lieutenant Governor's representative who came up to visit with us. CC the governor's rep, hopefully we'll have some exciting things to talk about in the very near future. But yeah, everybody's working. I actually met with a gentleman today who happens to be a local resident. All of his plans aren't firm yet, but he's looking at trying to do a comedy club here.
Okay.
And that could be a potential location. So he's actually going to have, see if he can negotiate there. There are the 3 other locations that he's looking at for the possibility of bringing some social life to the town, where we can have some additional outlets. And his business model includes not only comedy but a restaurant, of course. People can have their libations of their choice and all of that. Right. So that was a pretty interesting meeting. His family lives, actually it's funny, I didn't know, he lives right around the corner from me.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, and so we had a very good meeting to discuss that today. And, on the 31st of May, which I think that's Friday.
It's next week, yeah.
Yeah, it's Friday. The development on Mill Road, where the Family Dollar is, that very unique design. I think, Herb, you were out there did a little filming or pictures.
Yeah, we're
of.
going to get a chance to put that up and show the relationship.
Yeah,
how it really is broadening that community perspective.
Well, they won a statewide award.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
Yeah, the New Jersey.
Yeah, the architects.
Yeah, the New Jersey Business and Industry. I nominated the site, and because of its unique design, they picked that site as one of the best designed sites in the state. So I'll be going down to see that award be given on the 31st of May. But it's interesting that Family Dollar is expanding in a big way. Got a call from a realtor about a site that we've been trying to get moving for a while, right on the corner of Union and Chancellor Avenue, the big vacant lot. So they've been out to that site 3 times. I'm meeting with them on June the 4th.
Okay.
To see if we can get them to make a commitment to take that corner, which would do a major upliftment to that corner. And of course, you know, my pitch to them is do a quality store like you did over there on Mill Road. That'll make this corridor pop.
Right.
And so we're excited about that. They look down the street at that Dollar General and see them making all the money along with Burn Their Barbecue. So they're interested and about coming. And then there's a discussion about a Wendy's coming to town. They're looking for a location. And we're talking with their ownership about putting something on one of our main corridors.
Good.
And so that, you know, so those a couple things are moving
in
ahead.
terms of commerce and bringing the Rados back and their whole mission and objectives. You know, a lot of people forget that you have made some commitments, and those commitments have evolved.
And fulfilled some commitments.
Let me ask you, though. Now, we know that there are some requests that have been made by city council members in relationship to some needs to be
well, you know, no. So it's interesting. They have this tracking sheet, and and we multitask. So, you know, we take care of as many of them as we can get to in a reasonable request. And so you know, I was a member of city council too. Nobody could ever do enough fast enough or whatever the case may be. But nevertheless, we're working with the city council to get those things resolved. It's, you know, and in addition to that, we're also deal with the constant everyday issues of running government. Like, so people don't know the challenges you have. We had challenges in the building today with the rain. You know, we had just got our court roof fixed.
Right.
We're in a major court improvement plan. So it's not like we're not super busy. We're trying to take care of everybody's issues, whether it's the average citizen who picks up the phone and calls you. You know, I'm not a shy mayor. I give people my cell number.
That's right.
And I do pick it up.
That's right.
Yeah. So
open door.
Yep. Yeah.
It makes it good sense because a lot of the leadership, especially around the town, seem to have this attitude that, you know, they have to distance themselves in order to be recognized as being the leader of the community. But you still have been modest in your relationship of serving. And,
well, you know, I got into public service to do just that, to serve. And I also worked very hard to demystify this whole idea of the office of the mayor, that, you know, I tell people I'm the same person, I have a different job. And so I try to be as accessible and available to people. People are shocked on occasion. I'm in the office, I pick up my own phone, and they're like, what are you doing answering the phone? I said, I answer the phone at home. Why can't I answer the phone here? Right. So, you know, it's
culture shock in some instances because we're conditioned.
We're
conditioned, and again.
So I always try to work at being kind of, you know, listen, I can't do it all the time.
True.
So, you know, I want, you know, people, there's a dose of reality I have to bring to that perspective, because I can't be, if I got to work, I've got to, you know, try to market the township, I got to do administrative chores, I've got to have meetings and appointments.
Right.
You know, so those things are, you know, and you still have to have a modicum of a personal life to keep your sanity. So, you know, you have to balance that out. But I try to be, and I would bet my accessibility against any a public official anywhere.
Well, you know, I like that attitude, a dose of reality. Let me ask you now, you did something really tremendously difficult. You promoted 26 individuals in the law enforcement to leadership responsibilities. How do you do that with the current budget?
Well, what happens is municipal budgets are extraordinarily complex. So sometimes you think you're saving money, but what happens is when people have to fill in different roles, they get overtime anyway. So you're paying them at the top of what they might be getting. So you actually save money by maybe promoting them and locking in their salaries and their hours and their time, because you're not paying them outside of their regular duties to assume this and assume that. So it also is a morale booster as well. So, we've restructured, and part of what our plan was is in restructuring the police department to give it a level of accountability so that the rank and file sergeant, the rank and file has a certain level of accountability, and the supervisors have accountability over them. So in order to have proper management, you have to have supervision. And I always try to reward people when I think things are not perfect, but we're doing better. So if you look at violent crime in our city,
right,
we're significantly, I think we're 66% lower than we were. I mean, last year we were below double digits in homicide. I think we had 9 or 8. We used to have 30, and so we major reductions in violent crime. And, so you reward people when you see those kind of results come in. So you say, wow, you guys have done well. And you look at the administrative table and, you talk with your police personnel that are responsible for putting together organizational plans. And you say, okay, now's the time to move forward. And we did that.
With that idea, now rates of insurance is always affected, by crime and by educational systems. Things are beginning to stabilize in a normal way, so it's obvious that those areas will be addressed eventually. Knowing that that is the area of concern that you really have to relate to as the chief leader of the township, how do you continue to build the kinds of relationships that substantiate the ability to see through those problems?
Well, what happens to the mayor is you get thrust. You have to run your day-to-day operations. At a time when budgets are troubled and people forget that the mayor pays the same tax as everybody, and we have 2 properties in town. I have a Fuller Place property. I have my house on Ellery. So I know what the challenge of taxation is, but you also try to make sure you manage government. So 10 years ago when I started, crime was the prima facie issue. People wanted to be safe, and so we've been working on that, and we think from bringing the state police here to doing the anti-crime partnership to now seeing the results of those investments that we've made. We ratcheted up our programs, after-school programs, recreational programs, did all of our parks, partnering with all kinds of people, whether it was the career ambassadors, whether it was We Care Media, doing all the kind of innovations to try to bring services to people, working with a whole. We have on July 18th, we have Christmas in July.
That's right. Yeah.
Where we have partnered with CASA, court-appointed special advocates, and they deal with people who may be young children who may be tied up in the court system for a number of reasons. It could be DIFIS, it could be whatever, and they train volunteers to help the young people. Well, they can't expose those young people who they are. So what they said to us, we want to work with the toy manufacturers of America came to them and said, you deal with children that may have some struggles. We want to work with you, but I understand you're constrained. You can't actually take these kids and profile them. Is there a community that you feel comfortable working with that people may have some struggles, some challenges? They said, we have a wonderful working relationship with Mayor Smith. So they came up and we started planning. We used our Irvington Neighborhood Improvement Consortium, which deals with our families that are challenged financially. And we also took our recreation department and said, look, during the summer, we have kids all over our parks. Probably about 1,100 kids that we have every day that we feed breakfast and lunch, and in our park system. And again, I want to remind folks, we did all of our parks. We got one challenge park right now as a result of Sandy, and looks like we're getting a little under $1 million reimbursed. We finally got our final number. Our our fire staff and Randy Weiss, under the direction of Chief Shumlick, did a yeoman's job at, whether it was our disposal cost and our overtime cost. And they even take, as it relates to Sandy, you get reimbursed for your regular time because your guys are working on Sandy stuff. So we're getting just a little under $1 million, it's $900 and something thousand that we're going to get reimbursed cash for all the work around Sandy. And we got to that final number just the other day. We had a staff meeting to finalize. We're just waiting for the final improvement number, but we got one other issue relative to that, and I think that's about Green Terrace Park, because we had fences knocked down and all that. But so it should be a little under $1 million, but that money should be coming forward, and they send it electronically. So we just meeting with the finance director. As soon as we get the final email, because it looks like the numbers are agreed on, we had to email the little discrepancy because we want all of our money. And so that was good news. But so you have a multiplicity of things to manage and try to provide services to people at the same time. So we're, so that they're gonna July 18th, because of that unique collaboration, we're gonna be giving kids toys.
Okay.
About 1,100 kids, maybe 1,500 kids will get toys in Irvington.
That's gonna be
as
huge.
A result. Yeah, it's gonna be huge.
Yeah.
So that's gonna be July 18th.
Yeah.
The kids who are signed up in our park system will get the first option.
Okay.
So that will be an added bonus for them.
Right.
And we're going to dedicate that day, and we're calling it Christmas in July.
Christmas in July.
It'll be July 18th.
I would certainly be looking forward to being a part of that. And the expectations that are really developing are broadening and expanding. And, we're staying pretty much true to whatever's going on. If there's any opportunity that people can get involved with what we're doing, we always are able to give out our number.
Yep. So you can reach me at 973-399-6639, and I do give people my cell, 973-219-5245.
And if anyone would like any additional information, you can always contact us at We Care Partners at 973-847-1983. All right, Mayor. We'll be back in touch again. We're getting ready to put together a live show, a call-in show, which we're going to be expecting to put together starting in the month of June.
Okay.
And we'll be looking forward to having some real good conversations with many of you who are participating and helping to support the effort to rebuild the village. We thank you very much for tuning in. Thank you very much, Mayor.
Thank you.
All right. Great.